Good evening, you beautiful people. Welcome back to another video. Stephen here in the second week of the international break, and I had to go live to talk about this Guardiola news, which is very interesting. A little bit of breaking news. Some reports suggest that Guardiola could be edging towards signing a one-year extension at Manchester City Football Club. That's not confirmed, but currently things seem a little bit positive. That people are sort of, maybe they're just hedging their bets. Maybe they're just sort of trying to guess a little bit. Maybe people are getting nervous. I don't know. But I am fascinated to talk about this in a little bit more detail to see how it, see if I think it's viable or whatever. Loads to talk about. Absolutely loads to talk about. Guys, please give the video a like. Please subscribe if you are new. It does mean the world to me. It's very much appreciated. I also want to quickly talk about the sponsor of this video. That's the wrong thing there. 1 second. Let me go over here. 1 second. Where are we at? There we go. The sponsor of today's video is Football Prices. Do you want to win a Mateo Kovacic signed and framed shirt? Well, of course you do. You've got until Wednesday to enter, so quickly head over to Football Prices. Click link in the description right now. £3.95 to enter. Only 72 tickets sold out of 275, so you've got very good odds if you want to get involved. Yeah, Kovacic signed and framed shirt. I would love to have that on the wall behind me right there. It'd be so cool. I'm a big Kovacic fanboy, as you guys know, so yeah, please, enter if you want to win it. It'd be more than, it's also, it supports a charity. Wood Street Mission is a children's charity helping children and families living on low income in Manchester and Salford. So you get involved, you're supporting a charity, and you can also win a signed and framed Kovacic shirt. So good luck to you guys over there if you went to it. UK based 18 plus to enter. So let's look at the actual basis of this story. It says, breaking sources have tentatively suggested that the most likely scenario present is that Pep Guardiola signs another deal at Man City, albeit for just one more year. City would like to sign for longer, but we're delighted of hearing news. This comes from Jason Burt, Burt by name, Burt by nature, chief football correspondent for the Daily Telegraph and the Sunday Telegraph, with a lovely picture of his dogs up there at the top. The following quote also is that a one-year extension will take Guardiola to 10 years at City, and he likes the idea of completing that period of time at the club. If he stays at Man City, a new deal is expected for a shorter term. I think there is something in this. I think this is logical. I actually, I remember a long time ago, I saw an article from Michael Cox at Zonal Marking, and he, I quote tweeted his article saying, well, he did an article about why it's the right time to leave for Guardiola, and I said, well, what about him potentially staying for 10 years, because that's a big thing, and he was a bit piffy in reply to me and a bit short. Some of you may remember that, and I still felt at the time, that's a pretty good reason. The idea that it didn't mean anything, just 10 years. Of course it does. We all know the significance of 10 years in football. There's something quite powerful about completing a decade at any football club, especially in 2024 when managers have such a short, short lifespan. They really do. They're spat out and chewed out by the football machine so often. So completing a decade at a club the size of Manchester City is absolutely a massive achievement. There's something about saying you did 9 years and going, oh, did you not fancy 10 and not doing it? I don't know. It's just, I could never get that close and not do it, because a decade is just, it's a legacy, isn't it? And I know 9 years is a legacy, but I don't know what it is. It's just a number. But humans are drawn just to numbers in the way that we wanted 3 in a row or 4 in a row. It's something about doing that just seems tempting. And I think Guardiola is tired. I think he is tired. I think the fact that he probably only consider a one-year extension, if this is true, is probably also true as well. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Guardiola does feel a little bit world weary, and he maybe isn't fully tempted by the idea of staying for several more years, you know? There probably is something in this, you know? I do feel like it's not baseless, because Guardiola, 1 year, what would 1 year bring Guardiola? It'd bring him 10 years at the club, which is nice. It'd bring him stability, of course. It'd also bring him time to assess where Manchester City are going, because this is Manchester City now without Barada. It'll be without Cheeky Briggerstein as well. I've heard rumours that someone else might leave as well, someone pretty senior, you know. I think there is a lot of change going at Manchester City Football Club. And we've got Hugo Viana coming in as well, the very young, very talented manager, director of football, who's brought a whole wonderful bunch of players, you know. and helped Ruben Amorim to great success over there in Portugal. Look, Viana could be the sort of energy that Guardiola needs. Maybe Guardiola likes the idea of working with someone different because, he's worked with Cheeky an awful lot. He's worked with a lot of the same people for a long time, and that can be great for familiarity, but it can also get a bit samey, and sometimes you need someone to come in and just try something. Guardiola does like to be challenged, he does like to feel motivated and find a new just someone new to just bounce off, new ideas. And someone coming in with young, around my age actually, Hugo Viana, obviously a lot more successful than I'll ever be in my life. But someone like that, coming in who's got a bit of hunger, a drive to make a name for himself. Of course, a guy who understands football. Hugo Viana was a good player. I remember him. He was my championship manager, wonder kid, Hugo Viana. And no, Soriano, he's not leaving. Someone else. It's not Joan Mar either. Not immediately obvious, but I've heard rumours someone else might be leaving, which is pretty senior at Man City. I'm sure we'll be fine, but yeah. 115 likes, let's go, chat. Exactly, Sammy's right. But yeah, I think there is something in this. I think the time is probably right for Guardiola to consider, he's probably right to start thinking about his future, Guardiola. Like, I actually don't think he's going to be here for more than 2 seasons max. I don't. I think he's got another 2-3 years at top at Man City. I think these dreams about going on for another 6-7 years they're not realistic. He is clearly getting to the edge of his time at Man City. I think the club's starting showing signs of hunger for a new blood as well. You don't have to agree with that, but I'm getting a feeling that the club is just edging towards a new era naturally, especially with all the noise that's been going on behind the scenes. We're getting to the end, of course, there's court cases and all this kind of stuff. People have gone, Barada's gone, Cheeky have gone, other people will go. It's one of those things where I do think the club is just naturally evolving, and I think change is a necessity, and I think at some point Guardiola will leave as well. And as much as I'm terrified of that circumstance, because I don't think there's any era of the club that will ever be as good as this, I really hand on heart believe that, I do feel it is going to happen, and it probably needs to happen at some point, because you can get caught chasing your own tail a little bit. Maybe Guardiola will be happy to stay for an awful long time and win and keep winning. But I don't know how comfortable he'll feel. Look, the more people move on, Barada's moved on, Cheeky's moving on, other people will move on. The more people do move on, the less it feels like home for him, and he might enjoy that. But I would argue at his age, as he gets older and how long he'd been there for, 10 years might just be all he needs. He might want to complete that 10 years, give himself a year with Hugo Viana just to see, and then I think, unfortunately, he will leave after that. I don't think he's going to be here much longer, because I don't think City are being moulded for Guardiola in the same way. I think he'll probably will take a year or two out, then go into international management. That is my feeling. Guardiola, how old is Guardiola now? Let me just Google it. Someone will tell me in the chat. I'm going to guess it's about 54, something like that. Is he even that old? Guardiola, is he younger than that? My guess is he's 53. He turns 54 in January. Yeah, I can see Guardiola being at Man City until he's 55, something like that, and then taking a year or two out, then doing 3 or 4 years of international management. By the time he's 60, early 60s, Guardiola will not manage till he's 65, 70. He just won't. Guardiola is not that kind of person. I think I know, and I think you guys probably know deep down, that Guardiola will be done managing by 60, early 60s. I can't see him going to his 70, 65, 70. Guardiola does not strike me as that. He will step back and he will put his feet up and he'll play golf and he'll relax. So when you consider that, I do think he wants to manage internationally. He'll put 2, 3, 4 years into that minimum. Then who's it gonna be? Like how long is he gonna stay? I just don't see it. I can't see Guardiola managing at 65. It's just, maybe if he enjoys international football, he might do. So yeah, that's where I feel we're inevitable. I think the 1 year is probably true. I like the Hugo Viana appointment. I'll try and do a proper video on that at some point. I've not had a second chance to talk about it. But yeah, well, that's it. Mullen, but you've sort of proved the point there, mate. Klopp was going to rest, and then he was tired. He needed a Red Bull. But he went away from football management. He stepped back. And he's sort of like a retirement, really, I would argue, in terms of football management, that role. Pep Hodgson would be sick, though. He would indeed, yeah. And I don't see it. I just don't see it. Like, how old's Klopp, by the way? Klopp is Let's have a look. Klopp was 57. So he retired, in inverted commas, a little bit earlier. But that doesn't surprise me. Pep's 53 now. I think, honestly, the intensity of management at this level, I'd be amazed. They don't need the money. And I wouldn't be surprised if Guardiola gets some stock at Man City or something like that. Who knows, at the City Football Group. But I would be amazed if Guardiola's still managing at 65 because he doesn't need to. It's so intense. It's so intense these days that it burns a lot out of him. And the seasons are long. I don't think you can do that if it's not true, though, Danny. I don't think you can just announce it a 2-year extension with a 1-year breakout because I think Guardiola would just rather sign a 1-year deal. I think it's simple as that, really. And the only thing is, it's one of those things where, you know, we can see why you'd want him to stay forever and forever. But I think Guardiola right now has earned the right to get whatever he wants, you know. If he wants to sign a 6-month extension, you just do it. If he wants to sign a 1 year, you just do it because Guardiola is the greatest to ever manage, in my humble opinion. You know, he's changed his club exponentially. He has raised the standard of what I thought was normal, you know, in this country. So Guardiola gets the right to just do another year if he wants to. And the thing is, the way I see it as well, every minute you get with Guardiola it's not wasted. Like, that's one more minute with Rico Lewis with Guardiola, or James McAtee, or Phil Foden, or whoever we bring in the summer. Maybe we sign Zubamendi. Maybe we sign Samuel Ricci, the guy from Torino, wherever. Maybe we sign someone like that. And every year you get with Guardiola is going to benefit Manchester City. They are of that immense high quality where Guardiola still can mould them to benefit the next manager. So I think what they'll do is, I think this is probably happening. I think Guardiola's going to stay. I don't know why. I don't feel negative right now. I just feel like he's going to stay. I feel, for what it's worth, if Guardiola's still not sure, I think he's more likely to stay. I feel like Guardiola, if he really wanted to go, and I actually believe he probably hasn't made his mind up yet. I feel like if he really wanted to go, he would just know by now. You know? So this is how I feel about it. I feel this is very... I don't know, is my reasoning right there? I think Guardiola's such a man of conviction. I don't think he'd go into the season knowing if he wanted to stay or not. But I feel like he'd be tempted the further the season goes along. So we'll see. Give him $500,000 a week, guys. Just give him what he wants. Get him to stay, and let's see how this goes down. Yeah, I think he's going to stay, personally. I think it'll be a year. I think they'll probably announce in January a year extension. Guardiola wants to complete 10 years. And then he'll do 10 years, and then he'll get a stand named after him because he's Guardiola. They'll do a statue as well because he's Guardiola, and the statue will be Guardiola holding the Champions League and all the trophies, because it'll be Guardiola stood there with the 3 trophies in front of him when he won the treble. It'll be that. So that's what I think will happen. There's my timeline for you. I think he'll go at the end of the next season after doing 10 years. I think he'll take a year or 2 out. I think he'll do 4 years of international management, and I think he'll retire 60-61. That's what I think is going to happen. There is my prediction. Guys, let me know what you reckon. It is just a late video. It's 10 to 9. I'm worried about being too loud because my son's going to sleep. But do let me know if you think he's going to complete 10 years at Man City. Will he do 2 years? Will he do 20 years? I don't know. Either way, I'll be back tomorrow for another video. I know I've been away for a few days. I've been a bit ill, actually, and it's international break, and I didn't have much time to talk about. I've had lots of life-changing things happening, which is very complicated, and I'm sure you'll find out one day. Bye-bye. In a bit. Love you all loads.